Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's College Planning Tip of the Week. My name is Nancy Steenson with Steenson College Coaching, and with me today, as always, is Jack Wang, and we have a special guest today. I'd like to welcome Hanna Stotland, admissions consultant. Hanna is a graduate of Harvard Law School, and she has been advising law school applicants for 22 years. So, Hanna, Jack and I are eager to learn a little bit about this. Can you tell us what is the most important thing to know if you're considering applying to law school?
Well, Nancy and Jack, thank you so much for having me. The most important thing for law school students to know, or law school applicants to know, is this isn't undergrad. And you need to approach the law school admission problem differently than you approach the college admission problem. So Frank Bruni wrote a wonderful book called Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be, all about making the most of undergrad, about focusing on what you achieve in college as opposed to the name brand of the college you attend. And it's a wonderful book. I recommend it to everyone. It's a great principle. Where you go is not who you'll be. For law school, where you go kind of is who you'll be. And law school is very hierarchical, and so is the legal profession. And where you go determines not only what jobs you may have an opportunity to get at the beginning of your career, but it plays a role all the way through. And 8 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices went to Harvard or Yale Law. And they had many, many achievements after that. And there are many Harvard and Yale Law School alumni who don't make it to the Supreme Court, but that's not a coincidence. This is a very name brand focused field. And where you go kind of is who you'll be, at least in part. The second thing to know about law school is that admissions is very numbers driven. Your GPA as determined by the Law School Assembly Service. So there is basically a common app for law school students, and they have, or for law school applicants, and they have their own way of calculating your GPA. But your GPA and your LSAT score, the standardized test that is a major component of law school applications, those two things determine about 90% of the outcomes when you are a law school applicant. And so you need to think about upfront the fact that most people attending law school are borrowing a large part of the cost, and that cost is high. It is possible to get very large merit scholarships by going down the food chain, so to speak, and going to a less competitive law school than your numbers qualify you for. But there's a sacrifice there when you're getting that bargain, that discount. And so understanding at the outset that these numbers really are going to shape your launch into the legal career. And this is professional school. I think when you're looking at college, a lot of this is and should be about personal growth. How do you become an adult? Where are your people? How can you find them and build those relationships that are going to shape the rest of your life? All of those things matter so much for college. And law school is professional school. And, if you're Bill Gates's kid and you can afford to go to law school as an intellectual adventure, it is that. And if you don't need to worry about money in your future, then great, go ahead and enjoy law school as a way of sharpening your thinking skills, and it will do that for you. But for most people, we really need to be thinking about this is perhaps a $250,000 investment. You're going to have to pay back, of course, more than you borrow. And you need to be thinking right from day one, before you even take the LSAT, you need to be thinking about, if I'm borrowing this money, how can I go to a law school where I can be confident that I'm going to get a job that enables me to pay back this investment?
That's a great tip. Thanks for sharing that. So Hanna, one question that I'm often asked, all right, if a student's dream is ultimately to attend Harvard Law, Yale Law, or that type of school, how important is it for that student to attend an elite or name undergraduate institution? How much of a factor is that in that law school application?
So your college brand name is almost irrelevant to your law school application. And that student who aspires to the elite law school, I still think you ought to aim for the college, as Frank Bruni says, where you discover who you're going to be. And it's not about the brand name. But from a law school perspective, think about Legally Blonde. There's lots of ridiculous farce in that movie and that musical, but there's also a lot of truth. And one of those truths is that Elle Woods, with her 4.0 in fashion merchandising, is better suited as an applicant to, or more likely to get into Harvard Law than someone coming from MIT with a 3.5 GPA in chemical engineering. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think it ought to be that way, but it is that way. And if you know for sure that you want to go to law school, it is quite a rational decision to go to the school or choose the major where you believe you're going to get the highest GPA. Now, remember, Elle Woods also had a terrific LSAT score. And if she hadn't done that, and our imaginary 3.5 chemical engineering major from MIT, if that student has the 178 LSAT score and Elle Woods doesn't, then we're in a different situation. But at a given LSAT point, the higher GPA wins. And that goes for whether it's a major that's perceived as hard or easy. And that goes for whether it's a undergrad school that's perceived as elite or regional.
This is all very interesting. Thank you so much, Hanna, for shedding some light on this subject. We really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for listening today. And we look to see you next week on College Planning Tip of the Week.
Thank you.